As I drove home from work, my phone buzzed with a message from my wife. Emily, don't be jealous. It's just a few drinks with my colleague. I stared at the screen longer than I should have, a cold knot forming in my chest. It wasn't the words themselves. It was the tone. Too casual, too practiced, almost as if she knew something was wrong and was trying to cushion the blow before I discovered it on my own. We had been married for 6 years. Yet in that instant, I felt like a stranger being handed excuses by another stranger. The truth was, my suspicion had been growing for weeks. She had been distant, working late nights, guarding her phone, laughing at messages she refused to show me, and wearing perfume on days she claimed she was too exhausted for anything. So when she told me last night that she was going out for a team bonding event, something in me snapped awake. I activated the location tracker, linked to her phone. I wasn't ready to accuse her without proof, but tonight, proof arrived uninvited. I parked outside the upscale restaurant she had said was just for a quick drink and waited. I wasn't expecting much, maybe a harmless flirtation at most. But then I saw her through the window. She was laughing, leaning toward her colleague, Jason, who had his arm draped over the back of her chair, whispering close. Their faces were barely inches apart. And then she rested her hand on his knee, smiling in a way she hadn't smiled at me in months. I took photos, not for revenge, but to grasp the painful clarity of reality. My chest ached as I zoomed in, yet my hands remained steady. Emotion had left me. When she texted again, I already had all the evidence I needed. I replied with calm indifference. No problem. Have fun. But Jason's wife wouldn't be so relaxed after seeing the images I sent her them together. Almost immediately, my phone erupted with calls. First Emily, then Jason, then Claire, Jason's wife, and back to Emily again. The phone vibrated incessantly, like a warning I couldn't ignore. Claire's text came next. I need to see this. Where are you? I responded simply, really enough. Inside the restaurant, chaos erupted. From a distance, I watched Emily's face drain of color, her fingers trembling as she stared at her phone. Jason's expression looked as if he'd been struck by reality. He scanned the room nervously, expecting me to storm in and confront him. But I wasn't interested in theatrics. Not yet. I left quietly, letting them sink into the consequences of what they had dismissed as just a few drinks. Back home, I sank onto the couch and waited. My phone kept buzzing. 20 calls from Emily, 11 from Jason, 7 from Claire. The last text from Claire simply read, I'm going to the restaurant. Thank you. I didn't respond. At that moment, I felt nothing. Strange how heartbreak sometimes doesn't erupt. It just shuts everything down. An hour later, Emily finally came home, tears streaming down her face. She collapsed to her knees the moment she saw me. Please listen. It's not what it looks like. A bitter smirk tugged at my lips. Emily, I said softly, I saw everything. Her tears multiplied instantly. It was only drinks, she pleaded. He's going through a divorce. I was just consoling him. Nothing happened. I handed her my phone, displaying the photos. The look she gave me was one of utter collapse. Her excuses evaporated the moment her eyes fell on those images, as if each one carried a final judgment. I asked a single question, calmly. Were you comforting him, or were you trying to replace me? She opened her mouth, but only choked sobs came out. Meanwhile, Claire's calls kept coming, her voice trembling when I finally picked up. I'm at the restaurant. Jason's locked himself in the bathroom. He's too scared to come out. I replied quietly, Good. Let him feel fear for once. Emily heard the exchange, and her panic skyrocketed. She spent the entire night crying, pleading, and repeating the same rehearsed excuses. I felt lonely. You're never home. It didn't mean anything. I wasn't thinking. But every word sounded scripted, like lines cheaters memorize. Her tears didn't move me, didn't fix anything. I asked one last question. If I hadn't taken those pictures, would this have gone on? The silence that followed was a confession I needed. Around 3 a.m., Jason finally texted, Please don't ruin my marriage. It was a mistake. I replied, "My marriage is already ruined. The rest is up to your wife." Then I turned my phone off. The next morning, Emily was sprawled on the couch, surrounded by crumpled tissues, looking small and defeated. But something inside me had already snapped. I walked to the bedroom, pulled out my suitcase, and began packing. She woke instantly, rushing toward me, screaming, "Please don't leave. We can fix this. I'll quit my job. I'll cut him off. I'll do anything." I stayed calm. "Emily, you're not begging out of love. You're begging because you got caught." Her expression told me everything. Guilt, panic, fear, but not love, not genuine remorse, just the weight of consequences. I walked out. She grabbed my arm, sobbing, her voice breaking. "Please, I love you." I didn't stop. Love without loyalty is nothing more than noise. I left without looking back. Within 24 hours, Jason's wife filed for divorce. She texted me, "Thank you for showing me the truth. It hurts, but I'd rather hurt than live in a lie." I didn't feel victorious, nor justified. I felt only emptiness, the kind that comes after you finally stop fighting for someone who had long stopped fighting for you. 3 months later, I write this from my new apartment. Life has regained its balance. Quiet, lingering pain has faded. Clarity remains. And one lesson endures. Betrayal doesn't always break you. It can set you free. The person you become afterward is the one you should have been all along.